Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Fireside Creators. I am your hostess, Reverend Dr. Sherry Palace. This week's Fireside Creators is on the latest Disney flick, Encanto. It is circled around beliefs, so I thought it was the perfect topic. There has been some challenges with the show. In fact, my guest is currently having technical issues, so I'm going to do a whole run through of all the cool stuff that's going on. Go ahead and check out Palace Prints. It's Cafe Press Sherry Palace, and look, I'm wearing my Fuck the Patriarchy shirt, which I just absolutely love. I get a lot of looks and yay! And oh my God, I love that shirt as I'm walking around North Hollywood. So it is, there's some really cool stuff up there. I am adding stuff every week or so of new designs, and there's over 100 designs out there. So get some, wear them proud. I am wearing the Fuck the Patriarchy, extremely proud. And I hope you like it because I do too. But if you can't find Palace Prints at Cafe Press, you can go to sherrypalace.com and go to the, just scroll down. There is a image there, so you click you straight over to the store. Also, if you want to support me in any way and keep the show going, you can go to Patreon or sherrypalace.com. Also, there's a bunch of different membership levels. You can do it for as little as $3 a month. And I really, really appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you for watching. And I see that my lovely Anna has returned backstage. So let me go ahead and bring her on. I didn't do an intro because Anna is like my co-host at this point. So we are going to talk about the show. Before I forget, I want to give a shout out to Ruth, Ray, Michelle, Kirsten, Tim, Heidi. Thanks so much for your support, and it keeps everything going. I love you. Mwah! Mwah, 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 mwah. So let's talk about Encanto. Let me remove all this stuff. Okay. Hey. Hello, Anna. How are you?
Sorry. My casita was crumbling and I lost internet.
Oh no.
So I'm hotspotting it right now.
That is okay. Thanks so much. It worked out. I can't wait to talk to you about this show. Now, growing up, I was not allowed to watch cartoons. My mom didn't like it. I mean, if she weren't around, I would catch a Bugs Bunny or something like that. But the shows that I watched on Saturday mornings were American Bandstand and Soul Train and stuff like that. So cartoons do not come naturally to me at all.
Right.
But I saw so many people. I've watched the last couple of them. And of course, I watched them all with my son, when he was younger. But I saw so many comments on Facebook about Encanto that I had to go ahead and watch it. And of course, I saw myself in a little bit of each of those people. And the way that it was circled around beliefs, others people's beliefs about you, your beliefs about yourself, all of that, I just, thought it was going to be perfect to talk about it.
Oh,
what
yes.
did it do for you?
Oh, so much. First of all, to all of your audience, if you have not seen it, please see it. This is Disney, and it is aimed at children, but like you said, Sherry, it speaks to so much. Maybe it speaks to the inner child in so many people, right? That little kid who grew up in a setting where, yes, almost every character, you could point to a character and go, oh my God, I feel that, or I feel that, or that resonates. I initially took my kids to see it because they're all Mexican, right? So that was the number one reason. Look, it's Colombian, and there's some Spanish words in there, and they're using their accents, right? That was my initial reason for taking them. And then when we started watching, and I saw the colors, and I saw the way they did all the outfits, right? Then it was, oh, this is really authentic. It's not like the whole Pocahontas and let's make her, oh, don't even get me started there. But
exactly.
it was authentic. And then as they started introducing the characters, the diversity, right? Yeah. So many different hues to the characters, and so many textures in their hair and their voices. And there was a feeling of, this is beyond, it's a small world. And this is not that annoying depiction of this is what global looks like. This is actual diversity. Good on you, Disney. Happy for you.
Yeah, and like you said, it was authentic this time. I mean, it wasn't, the colors were amazing. The graphics were out of this world. I mean, again, someone who didn't grow up watching cartoons, not having that, I was engrossed, and I was thinking about how lifelike it looked. And that kind of freaked me out a little bit, because I was like, oh God, the reality, and how do we know these types of things? But I saw my grandson in this show, to have that representation is just so crucial. I mean, there's been a meme or something viral going all over social media about, there's a little boy who looks just like, and I'm so bad at the characters' names.
The little one. Yes.
Antonio.
Yes.
And, just to be able to have that type of representation, to see them in all of their glory, as opposed to being whitewashed and judged and all of these things. It showed the happiness. It showed the community. I mean, I wanted to go live there.
Yes, didn't you? And there were interracial marriages. There were people who had the different texture of colors. There was Luisa, the strong sister, right? Oh my God. I looked at her and I said, they put muscles on her, and she doesn't look like a boy. They put muscles on her. They didn't just make her strong as her, outward trait. They made her strong, and she flexed. It was a flex for her. It was also, a drawback, but it was the first time that I've ever seen a woman portrayed as one of the main characters, who wasn't slim and shapely and had this crazy hourglass figure and teeny tiny waist. She was strong, and as her role. Oh, I'm sorry. Spoilers, audience. Spoilers.
Oh my God, yes.
Sorry.
We should have a spoiler warning right now. Yes. But even if we spoil it at this point, it's such a good movie that we're not really spoiling anything.
It is. Go see it.
Yes.
So there was so much as an adult that I thought, where were these movies when I was a little kid?
Yeah.
Where were they? There's so many facets of the individuals within the family, right? Even the ones that came in from outside the family and married into the family, and how they were seen. And it's
well,
it was
and
fantastic.
I understand with Luisa that there was a fight over her muscles.
Yes, they
You know,
didn't.
they didn't, you know, Disney at first said, no, we're not going to do this. And the characters or the actress for the character totally fought back and said, no, this is the way it's going to be. I mean,
Yes,
being as tall as I am, I, of course, resonated with her the most.
yes,
Being the strong, independent. And then when she broke, I was like, that's me. I
yes,
feel that, you know. And
yes,
one of the things I thought was really interesting about the topic was that every gift that people received was also some form of punishment. You know,
yes. A
it was
burden.
never a true blessing. It was never, you know, without consequences. It wasn't without burdens. You know, I mean, Bruno especially, you know, Bruno
Oh,
felt it the most because, you know, and then the whisper chick, the one that could hear
oh,
everything.
yes, yes,
What
yes.
was her
I can't
name?
remember her name. I would have to Google
Dolores.
it. Dolores.
Dolores.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, so everybody, while they were given these gifts, it was not something that, you know, set them on this wonderful life. It set them with the consequences. I mean, the person who doesn't want to hear everything keeps hearing
yes,
everything. The strong woman doesn't always want to be strong. The person
yes,
who knows the future, no one wants to hear it. You know, I
yes,
mean, it was
yes,
to see that diversity alone
yes,
without all of the colors and all of the diverse people, but to see the sides, both sides of a gift,
yes.
really touched me.
Right. It was good to see that what was pressed upon them as, well, this is your strength. So this is how we expect you to use it. You
Yeah.
use it for everybody else and we demand it. It's a form of payment, and the entire future of this community depends on your gift. Then yes, like you said, that becomes an obligation. And once it becomes an obligation, then you're not gifting it, are you? It is being pimped out of you. It is being pulled out of you.
It becomes an
And then
asset as
it
opposed
does.
to, you know, part of,
Yes.
forget that you're human. You forget that, you
Yes.
know, it's not just out there. In fact, at one point, I thought about Mirabelle. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
her not getting a gift was
Oh,
such a gift. It
yes.
was
She
such
could
a
be
gift.
just she could just be who she was. And
Yeah,
then even that, feeling the peer pressure of not fitting in, being the
yeah,
odd one out, and feeling like you couldn't contribute, and others looking at you like, well, you're not contributing, so we're going to give you these little shit jobs here and there. It was your heart broke, and then at the same time you're hoping and you can feel it. Where is my gift? What is my gift? I
yeah,
want to help my family, but I don't have all these fantastic things that everybody has. And it was her love, right? That
yeah.
was that was it. It was her love for, oh, it was a love for her family. So let's I want I want let's start with Mirabel, because she was I felt the curls, because that's my hair was worse when I was a little girl, but it was like that. The crazy poof, the disarray of curls, the glasses, the not feeling like you fit in, right?
Right. Hold
And
on.
wondering
I'm going to.
wondering how do and if you look at family globally, how do I contribute? Oh, I love her. How do I contribute to the overall good if I don't know how to contribute? And being unable to see that she was what kept Antonio, right? The little boy who's getting ready to receive his gift. She was his grounding, but she couldn't see that, could she?
Well, and I think that was kind of one of the points, though, because everybody else told them what their gifts were.
Yes.
So for her, she had to find it, and she had all of these outside pressures of saying, what are you going to live up to? What are you going to be? You're nothing. And she really fought that to keep some type of control of herself and to keep that smile on her face and to keep that,
Right.
while everybody else said, you're not shit, you didn't get anything, she still said, no, I'm here, I'm part of this family, I'm going to be in it, and
Yes.
I'm going to love everybody. I don't know why, but I'm just going to move forward. And that was so
Yes.
beautiful.
It was. And there was so much vulnerability. There was this I'm going to fake it till I make it, right?
Yeah.
There was this bravery that she put on, this mask that she put on. No, I'm very happy. I'm proud of my family, which she was. I am a madrigal, and for me, I didn't know, was she talking to herself? Was she talking to everybody else? Was she trying to tell herself, you are a madrigal, you are part of the family, you are worth something, you are important? It was all this self-talk that was going on. And yes, like you said, it was when she lost control, right? It was when she just broke that she found her voice to her abuela, right, to her grandma, and
Well,
she
and stop
spoke her
listening to
truth.
everybody else to say things. I
Yes.
mean, there was so much outside pressure on her because they viewed her as not having these gifts.
So have you looked at, now that we're talking, I'm looking at it through the lens of a woman in a man's workplace and how she shattered that we're not, because it wasn't just Bruno that they didn't talk about, right? They didn't talk about the grandma and what she was doing to everybody. They didn't talk about that. And it was when she shattered that. So how do you see that as shattering the glass ceiling?
Interesting.
Finally, just
I didn't
getting
look at
tired
it
of
that
it.
way.
As you were talking, that's what it reminded me of.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, especially if we're going to bring it into the workplace. I mean, I know this is going to drive some white man crazy, but women have to work twice as hard to do, half the job, or, that men do, or however the saying goes. But she was just as controlling. She was just as, I mean, the labels is one of the things that I got out of it. And when
Yes.
you are in a workplace, when there is, I mean, especially because it was a home, because it was a community, there's this power, there's these, layers on there that you kind of have to acquiesce to, you have to be
Yes.
subservient to. I mean, in this movie, it was a woman, but she was still just as closed minded and everything else as we see so much in the workplace,
Yes.
especially because she viewed Mirabelle, which I know
Yes.
I'm totally whitening these names, and I
That's all
apologize
right.
for it in
No,
advance.
no, no.
I mean, she held Maribel down. She
She
really
did.
did, and said, I don't have a need for you, almost.
Yes.
Um, and
Oh,
and
that
that was,
scene was heartbreaking.
yeah,
Oh, I
yeah. I mean,
was,
and when
oh,
people of power do that, even in a family, to discard, and they did that well. They did it with Bruno. They discarded her. It was, really turning the community people into assets, and they all broke because of it. And I think that's what we see a lot of going on right now, especially after COVID. People are reassessing everything, going, I'm not just going to be another link in a chain for some
yes,
corporation's thing. I want to find my gift. What
yes.
can I give to the community?
I am not just a commodity. I am a person with talents, and I
Yeah.
want to find how my talents contribute. And she was, yes, everybody, the labels, like you said, the labels, everybody was labeled as their gift, not just who they were, but their gift
Yeah.
and how that contributed to the community. And yes, the abuela was very, this is what keeps them together. They're depending on it. We can't show any weakness. We're going to keep going as if nothing is happening. And then it
Very,
broke.
structured, very rigid,
Yes.
and these gifts were nothing like that. I mean,
No.
there was no rigidity in any of the gifts except in her views of their functions.
Yes. And that, I think that was captured perfectly when you got the thing there, the one that was perfect, right? The one that was beautiful and
Oh, the sister.
elegant. Yes.
Her, yes.
Her, Isabella. She was perfect and elegant, and everything was perfect as she walked in the room. And it wasn't until she broke, like you said, again, the whole thing was breaking the mold. She broke the mold, the expectation of what she was supposed to be. And the colors literally exploded from her, right?
Yeah.
And the creations were her own, not the expectations of everybody else, but the creations became her own. I loved that song, What Else Can I Do?
Yeah.
That was I did not like her until she broke.
Well, she kind of reminded me of Ivanka Trump for a little while.
Yes.
It was like, oh, the beautiful one. She has it all, and I mean, it was really coming across that everybody else viewed her as that too. It was, again, these expectations because she was beautiful, because when she walked into a room, flowers bloomed,
Yes.
all of these things. But again, who was she? Who,
Yes.
it was, who was she? Oh, I'm the pretty one. That's all she was, until she started saying, no, I'm not, Louisa, I'm not just the strong one. I'm not just the pretty one in Isabella. I mean, that just, we put so many people, and so, I mean, we put everything into a box.
So let me ask this. Looking at Isabella through the lens of transgender, who she really was on the inside, but who she put out to the public as an expectation of what she was supposed to be.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure most people would go, well, no, Louisa would be the transgender, and no,
she wasn't. She was very much her own woman. I'm looking at it from the form of, I'm holding who I truly am in on the inside. I'm not going to let it break out until she broke, right? And until she opened up, came out of the proverbial closet, and so many colors, this rainbow of colors just emerged.
Yeah.
And I thought of that. And I know if I told my husband, if I told my husband that, he would sit there and go, it was just a Disney movie.
Disney has been changing the world since, for more than 50 years at this point.
Yes. So, yes.
You can't just discredit a Disney movie.
No.
You can't. Especially when Pixar's involved. It's
yes. And can we talk about the music? I
loved the opening and the introduction of being all in song. That was pretty cool.
Yes, it was more than just it was beyond a Disney song, right? Yeah. It was, I mean, Frozen, because they're comparing the We Don't Talk About Bruno to Frozen, right? Let It Go. This breakout song, this anthem that people are holding on to. And for Disney, it was Let It Go. The moment when, who was that? Elsa.
Haven't seen that one. The song drove me crazy. I haven't seen
it. That's another one.
I haven't seen it. I'm boycotting that movie just because of the song in and of itself.
Actually, so have a glass of wine and then watch it, but pay attention to the nuances of Elsa.
Okay.
But her song was a breakout song precisely because it was her anthem. Let it go. And that was big, not because the song was catchy, but because it resonated within a lot of people. And the we don't talk about Bruno, that we don't talk about that one that we're all ashamed and afraid of, and we don't talk about that black sheep. We don't talk about the one that seemingly has wrecked everything for our family. That resonated with people. The fact that
Huge.
This is a significant person that you have literally put into and behind, you've walled him up. And when they showed him at the table, right? When they showed him at the table with his little placemat.
Yeah. I mean, and again, they viewed what he offered as destructive. They didn't like his gift.
Yes.
And he had no control over his gift. So they judged him and exiled him based on, them just not liking what he said.
Yes. Instead of doing that journey within his visions with him, like Mirabelle finally did, right? Because she ventured further, even though he didn't want to go further. She stayed with him and ventured further.
So was I the only one rooting for Bruno? Or I don't think so.
No. I was rooting for him. I wanted him to come out. I
expected him to be a total asshole. And then when he came out, I was like, no.
Yes,
I mean, it was this, again, the shame that was so unnecessary, the exile that was so unnecessary. I mean, it was heartbreaking. There's too many of my life parallels there.
I have a beloved gay friend who told me that he and his partner watched it, and Bruno, he said, Bruno is gay. I said, Bruno's gay? How do you get Bruno's gay? And he said he was kept hidden. He was kept inside. He was the shameful one. He was the abomination. He was the evil. He tried, all he wanted to do was be part of the family. But he was the one that was unspoken. He didn't exist. We don't talk about him until she brought him out and heard
Brady Harden, I mean, that was his comment, was that he was Bruno. That was the catalyst that made me go, okay, let me watch this movie. What's Brady talking about? And unfortunately, he had plans tonight, so he couldn't come on. But yeah, I mean, I guess because of the way that all of the gifts were focused on, we could almost take any of the characters and apply them to the LGBT community.
Yes.
Yes,
you're right.
It was because it wasn't only about Bruno being an outcast, it was because of his gift that he was an outcast.
Yes.
And if you do apply that to the LGBTQ community, it could be run completely parallel, because while the church says that being gay is an abomination, I would say that most of the gay people I know, in speaking from a point of love and friendship, that is their gift.
Yes.
It is. It's that is part of them, and that is who they are, and that is part of their gift. And again, it's judged harshly by so many of the world.
I had there was if you've never followed Stan Mitchell, write that name down and follow him on Facebook. But he's a pastor, and he advocates for families who have LGBTQIA children. And as they're coming out, he works with the parents as they're struggling with acceptance, specifically the Christian parents. And one of the things he was asked by a man in his 60s who was gay was, have you ever considered, I know you speak to all the parents who are against the gay community, and you ask them to consider if you're wrong, have you as a pastor ever considered you being
Sorry,
wrong?
if you can hear
No, no,
those
no, no.
sirens, sorry.
And that was such a wonderful question, because it was kind of where Bruno was. He never asked his mother, right? The abuela. He never asked his mother, "Have you ever considered you're wrong?" Or he didn't ask any of the other people, "Have you ever considered that you're wrong in the way you think?" It was only Mirabel asking him, "Have you considered that you're wrong in how you think? You have it, like you said, you're a gift." And somebody else brought up, as a parent to a queer child, "My child has made me a better Christian because of the affirmation and acceptance, because seeing beyond what I was rigidly taught. I had to see beyond that in order to see the totality of who my child was."
Yeah.
And that, I thought about Bruno too. The same things. You have to see past what your expectations are and what you've been taught and what you've been told and what's been passed down to who the person really is. Everybody just wants to be part of the family.
Well, and love does that, right? I mean, that
Yes.
this is one of the reasons why I rail against religion, is because so much of it divides us. So much of us says, it is loving if I abandon you. That
Yeah.
one always gets me. I can't have you in my life because I love you. Never makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then to, loving is what accepts is accepting. Loving is honoring. Loving is having all of those things. Only when someone else tells you, you're limited, you have these things, like
Yes.
the whole plot of Encanto, you know,
Yes.
is, only when someone tells you these things is when the limitations come in, is when the self-doubt comes in, when all of those things. I posted the meme this week, about, who doesn't have a report card that says talks too much in
Yes.
class. I mean, yeah,
Yes.
you were the first one. Yeah, we're, here. And I mean, there are so many things that I was told that was bad about me, but that have become that, because they are who I am, are useful with my gifts. If
Yes.
I didn't talk, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now,
Yes. And
you know?
that's what makes you such a joy to everybody else, right? It is that gift of connection through communication.
Yeah.
That gift of being able to open up other people by talking to them, that makes you distinctly, uniquely, and so glorifyingly you.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
I
it's
get spanked
true.
every day for it.
But I want to bring up another aspect, which actually my son brought it up when he saw Encanto. He said, "Mom, do you think that's what people who kill themselves feel like Bruno?" When he said he was trying to protect his family. And I had to excuse myself when he asked me that, because that just, it ripped my heart in two. Like, where
Yeah.
did this come from? And
I actually did have a similar
oh,
thought, though. I
mm,
did.
when we sat down later, and I asked him, first, "Are you thinking of killing yourself?" Because that's what you're supposed to ask when something like that comes up. And he said, "No. I guess he had a friend at school or something." And he said the way he talked sounded like the way Bruno talks. And I
Hmm.
just wondered, is that what people who are thinking of killing themselves, is that what they sound like? And I said, yeah, in a lot of ways. To them, they feel like they're taking the burden off people they love by,
I looked at it as, um, he had nothing to live for.
yeah.
I looked at it from that sense, not, as, I mean, it did come across my mind of, he lost everything. He was exiled. He was living
Yes.
behind walls. He was,
Yes.
everybody got rid of him, didn't want to talk about him, didn't want to mention him. And my thought was, this is what happens when people kill themselves is, because they're exiled, because, their name is not even to be mentioned, and those
Yes.
types of things. When that person is in the midst of that, that's when, people go to the other edge. It's,
Yes. Yes. And he even developed two other personalities, remember? He developed two other personalities while he's within those walls. The one, I think there was a point he put the bucket on his head and he makes the spackle. And then there was another one that he talked to, I can't remember, but there were two distinct personalities that he developed to survive. And I thought, my God, Disney, you're bringing in mental health into this too.
Yeah.
And it was just so, this is pointing out, this is such a sublime way of pointing out, this is why he was so traumatized by the outside world, his family, by what might happen. He was so traumatized by what people said about him that he had to retreat within, right? Retreat within the very place that he lived and develop two other personalities just to survive.
Yeah.
And Disney, I cannot say enough about you, because that was...
Well, and I saw it as, most of us, we don't live behind those walls as a daily thing, but we do, any type of exile, there's not actual walls around us. We're not actually living between the walls and seeing our families.
Right.
Social media provides those viewings, if you're estranged from a family member and seeing, those types of things, when he would look through the cracks and see those, them eating dinner. I mean, it's, while we may not have the physical walls around us, that there are so many of us that still have those there. We just can't see them. We don't have those alleys to go behind like he did and could hide.
We have them in our minds, right?
Yeah.
These are things, these are things, what was it? For example, the mother I wish I had, right? These are images I missed that I didn't even know I missed until I saw somebody else experiencing it. And it Bruno, I think, I can't remember, somebody had said there were so many layers within the movie, so many layers to each character and how they interacted. And the married one, the one that did all the weather, right? I'm so glad you have that little thing up that you can scroll through.
Yeah, that's why I did this. Peppa.
Peppa, yes. Did you notice as you watched her, whenever she got anxious, she stroked her hair? She self-calmed by stroking her hair.
Wow.
Think of thoughts. And I thought, look at that. Look at what they're doing.
Yeah.
Look at how they're trying to show this is her desperate attempt to calm herself. And what a great metaphor, all the storms, right? The clouds, the hurricanes, the tornadoes.
It took me a minute to get that, because at first I saw it as that she was a negative energy, that she was walking around bringing storms to everybody.
Yeah.
And then there was one scene where she sat down, and I think someone said, you need to calm down. And I was like, these are her own personal storms.
Yes.
She brings the weather to the area, but she is going through her own personal storms every day. At least they could see it. At least they could go, she's going through a storm.
Right. And I thought of my kids, especially my little rage monster, right? The one who has rages. And I thought, oh my God, if I could see the weather over this baby's head,
Yeah.
this 9-year-old head. So
Yeah.
when I saw the tornado coming up, or when I saw the hurricane coming up, I would know. Think happy thoughts, think sunshine, think something. I would know before it got into an all-out horrendous storm that was starting to build up. And I thought that was what a fantastic way to show what emotions can feel like inside that nobody sees, except on her, everybody saw, and everybody was impacted by her emotions. And it wasn't anything she was doing on purpose.
No.
If anything, she was trying to control her emotions
constantly,
which never works, right?
Yeah. I mean, her whole character was in a struggle. I don't know that
Yes.
everybody else had kind of accepted their fates almost, but she was in a constant struggle of trying to maintain all of this. Like you said, she would, pet her hair and, do that to calm down. But yeah, I mean, her character embodies so many people with mental illness, the stress,
Yes.
the anxiety. And again, we don't see the clouds over their heads. We see them brushing their hair. We see them in their OCD tendencies and doing those types of things.
Yes.
I do wish we could see the clouds.
She perfectly embodied those of us who were raised to not show any of our emotions.
Yeah.
And the struggle that we had trying to contain all those big feelings, and how there was, where was it? Even in the song, We Don't Talk About Bruno, she was saying that he walked in on her wedding day with a mischievous grin, and he said something like, "I hope it doesn't rain," and he put that in my head. And I thought, ooh, right there, he put that in my head. How negative talk to people, that'll go in, and that'll stay in. That impacts. They're more than just words, right?
Words, but Bruno was the scapegoat for all of their problems, though.
Yes,
too.
He was. I agree. This was her showing how words can impact.
Oh yeah.
People. Even words that are meant jokingly, or I hope it doesn't rain. Whoa. Imagine if you were trying to do something like a brain surgeon. I hope you don't slip and kill him. There's a whole lot of
don't sneeze. Yeah.
Have you ever sneezed while driving? To me, that's a terrifying moment, because you close your eyes.
Yeah, you lose control. Yeah.
But I appreciated that point where she said, I couldn't get his words out of my head, or something like that. And I thought, for every person that was verbally abused ever.
Yeah.
Emotionally
indoctrinated, abused, all of that.
Indoctrinated. Oh my gosh, yes, right? Send this to those fundamental churches. Anybody who was told something that stuck with them and impacted their emotions, that was captured in everything she did.
Well, and especially with someone, if she was playing the role of having any type of mental illness, those words would have hit even deeper.
Yes.
So that it would have been even more of a struggle for her to release those. The stuff I remember of people saying, positive or negative, are kind of random. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people would be like, you remember that? Or I said that, those types of things. So,
yeah.
And I'm sure that there's someone out there that I have upset unintentionally, and said something that hurt them. And, we don't know. We don't know
Yes.
that, how much effect our words have. And once we put it out there, it just goes. And,
Yes.
a lot of unintended consequences.
Yes.
And she and Bruno's relationship demonstrated that.
Yes.
Because I
Even
don't think,
though
I mean,
he didn't mean it, right? He
yeah,
didn't
for anyone
mean.
who hasn't seen it, Bruno was innocent. I mean, he was, a scapegoat. He was the blame of, all of the family's problems. And he was just a sweet little man, who just wanted to be
Mhm.
loved, and didn't even want his gift. A lot
Yes.
of them didn't.
Yes. So it makes you wonder, right? What gifts do I have that I absolutely didn't want until ...
Well, it goes back to, talking too much in class. I was spanked every day for being this person. I have stood out like a sore thumb my entire life because I'm tall. It was,
Mhm.
all of these things that now can help me.
Yes.
Now all of the things across my life that I have cursed, um, I mean, not all. Haven't accepted all of them. Let me get that clear. I still wish I wasn't so loud sometimes. I still wish I could blend into a crowd. It's all of those things. Um, but there is a point where I did go, I can't be who I want to be, hating these parts of myself. If I'm going to come to myself into full fruition of who I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be,
Mhm.
I need to
Mhm.
accept these parts of me that I've hated all of this time.
With that, let's segue into, I think it's Emilio, the chameleon, the shapeshifter.
Yes.
The
Where is he?
shapeshifter.
There he is. No,
Emilio,
Taylor's the entertainer.
who was the shapeshifter?
Is it? No, you're right. It is Camille. Throne is magical that allows him to switch his appearance to
Yes.
whomever he wants to at the moment.
So, how many times? Because you made me think of him when you said I just wanted to blend in. And he did that, right? He
Yeah.
shape shifted to be who he felt he needed to be in certain situations, whether it was to joke, whether it was for
To
an
prove a
effect.
point. Yeah.
Yes. But at no point in that whole entire movie, really, do we see him remain himself, his true
Only
form.
when he does, he is like, sorry. He's,
Yes. Yes.
he's not out there. He's not, whenever
No.
he's himself, he was more reserved. He was more apologetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
And I thought so I wondered, as you said, I just wanted to blend in, of all the times that we ourselves, what is that? Code switching, right? I code switch. I code switch to make other people comfortable. So I change who I am to fit in, to not stand out, to ensure the comfort of other people, to make them
Yeah.
laugh, to ah oh, you just made me think of that. Yes, he was the chameleon. He became someone else in almost every situation and apologized for it, for not being himself, but then he wasn't jokey or laughy when he was himself.
No. No.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch it again now.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people have a chameleon tendency. I used to say that I could go from a dive bar to a black tie affair in just a matter of an hour. Um,
Mhm.
but when being a chameleon is fine as long as you are secure in your identity. When you're not
Yes.
secure in your identity, and he wasn't, you could see
No.
that insecurity every time he was himself,
Yes.
wasn't secure in that identity. When you can shapeshift per se and still remain who you are, that's when it's truly a gift. Otherwise, it's an insecurity. You're, losing yourself. I saw it in my son. I'm sure I did it, but it was like, I sent him to California for a few months. He came back wearing Wrangler jeans. Like, and liking country music. When he left, he was sagging and liking rap. It was, I sent him to the country for 6 months. He comes back a cowboy. I'm like, who are you? And he looked at me and said, I don't know. And
but isn't that true?
Yeah.
When I was in the military, I shed every aspect of femininity that I possibly could. The uniforms I wore were baggy because the one time that I didn't, I had a blouse on that was tight. Somebody made a comment about my breasts that was rapey. Never again. That was the last time for, so about 24 years that I wore just baggy clothes. So nobody could tell what my shape was.
Yeah.
I talked like a guy. I was one of the guys because at that point in the military, being feminine was a weakness. You were, what do you call that? A hazard. And it became a safety issue.
Yeah.
If somebody saw you as a woman rather than as one of the guys. And it took a while. After I retired and when I had to enter the workplace in an office environment, my boss pulled me inside and said, I need to send you to somebody who can help you learn how to dress. And at first I thought, fuck you. No.
Yeah.
But then I understood that I was wearing cargo pants and polo shirts. I was not wearing anything that was considered feminine. And it took me a while to think, like you said earlier, I don't know who I am.
Yeah. There have been times in my life where someone has said something, and I'm just going to have to say it because I don't know how to get around not saying it. Anyway, I was in a car. I was with this guy that I really liked. I took an office call. Something blew up and I said, no, fuck that. No. This isn't going to way it's going to work. This is the way it's going to work. And it better fucking work this way. Dropping F-bombs left and right.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got off the phone, he said, you're such a badass. And I read that as he approved in what I was doing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, because he said that, and this is going to sound really weird because I was being professional, even though I was cursing.
No, I 100% understand.
But all of a sudden I amped that up, and I started giving him more of that. And later I looked at myself and I was like, yuck.
Yes.
Yuck. And my response should have been, no, someone really screwed something up and there are a lot of people are upset.
It was contextual. Yes.
Yeah, this problem.
Yes.
But because I thought that that's what he wanted from me, I gave more of it and I hated myself for it. I hated myself for it. It was like, that's not who I am. I should have owned, yes, I probably shouldn't have said, no, you got to fucking do this right now. But again, I was panicked. I was doing work and giving something to someone because of their expectations of what you are when it's not authentic, at least in my position, it made me dislike myself. It really did. I mean, not for any long term or anything, but it was I don't ever want to do that again.
Because you took the context of where that aspect of Sherry was required.
Yeah.
In that moment on the phone call. And you felt you had to shapeshift so he could approve of you.
Yeah. I mean, and in hindsight, he was probably like, holy crap, woman, watch your tongue, you're at work. It wasn't a compliment, but because I totally dug him and I was like, okay, this is what he wants from me. I'll give it to you.
Yes.
And I saw that with every character in Encanto. Every single one of them was, I may not, be this person. I may not want to have this gift, but I will give that to you because that's what you expect.
That is the self-esteem, right? That is the self-esteem that desperately wants to be liked and valued. And if we're not, then tell me what you want me to be, and I will be that. And I even saw that in the abuela.
Totally. She was so afraid everything would crumble.
Yes, because she was the single mother with 3 babies and nothing.
Yep.
So when that candle became the enchantment, and just like you, almost like your story there, right? This is the enchantment, and all of a sudden, this is serving me. So I need to hold on to this. I can't let anything threaten this, because I don't know what we'll do. I don't know what will happen if I lose this.
Which every single mother has felt.
Oh my God.
Every single mother has had that feeling at least once.
Yes. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. ...
I don't know what I will do next. Yes. People, go watch Encanto. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to watch it again.
So am I. I wish Miguel would have been able to come on the call, but he got a migraine, so he was unable to come in. But this has been a great chat. I really hope that more people are able to watch it and come back and chat. And excuse me, my allergies just exploded. So
I would love for people to put down who and how they see themselves in the different
that would be
characters.
Great. So definitely do that in the threads of the YouTube. Like, subscribe, all of those things. I want to know who you see yourself as in the movie. Who resonated with you? Is it a bunch of them? Is it one of them? And why? Tell me that. I would love to hear. I would definitely love to hear that.
Yes.
And I too am going to have to watch it again, because it's, there was just... Disney always layers their stuff. It's like I remember watching The Hunchback of
Notre Dame. Yes.
Yeah, through the Disney version, of those things, and there were some sexual references there. So Disney always throws in those types of things to keep the adults entertained.
Mm-hmm.
But this, like you said, was so many different levels. It was mental illness. It was LGBTQ. It was acceptance. It was community. It was working together and unifying. My mother would be going, no, but I loved it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
It was. If somebody asked me, how do you see Abuela as Moses? And at first I was like, what?
Oh.
And then I started thinking, oh my God.
Yeah.
For real. Wow. She was taking everybody to the promised land and trying to keep everything together, talking to her dead husband in the candle, hoping that please just let us survive. Yeah. And I thought about the desert and Moses, and I said, oh, you're right. And I don't want to admit you're right, because I don't always get along with the person that said that. But I was like, I can be honest in that way. I was like, I'm going to have to look at it through that lens. Yeah. She was the Moses.
Well, and I think I'm pretty much against leadership per se, but anybody who is at the head is going to have those feelings too. I've got a lot of people counting on me. If I screw this up, then a lot of people are going to fall.
Yes.
Every one of the characters had their own fears, and her fears affected everybody. Everybody else, all the characters' fears, pretty much only accepted themselves, except for hers.
She was the total single mother.
World collapsed, everybody's did.
She was the total single mother. She was. She was. The points where she came out to be a bitch. I was like, oh, Anna, that's you. Oh. Let me go back to my kids. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, time for apologies after Encanto. Well,
anyway,
we're at the top of the hour, and one of the things I forgot to say in the beginning is I don't know if anyone noticed, but there's a new show intro, and you, Anna, grace it a couple times. So thank you so very much, and what a great show! Everything worked out.
This was
very
fun.
Well.
Thank you.
Yes,
this
I
is why I
chatting
love
with you.
Oh, you make me feel so much better. Thank you.
Likewise. I'm going to send you back. We're not going to do a VIP, so your kids can eat tonight.
That's fine.
We can do that.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed the show. If you haven't watched it, go see Encanto. It's an hour and a half long or something. It's a beautiful story, and hopefully it will give you some self-reflection to learn more about yourself and the others and how you can make your community a stronger place by offering the gifts you have. I will see you next week, and please, whatever you do, walk